Listening back to this show from Teachers Talk Radio. You can catch up with all our shows by visiting our YouTube channel or by listening back at ttradio.org. Don't forget to like and subscribe to enjoy more live education conversation from TTR. We hope you enjoy this show.
Outstanding and world-class vision and world-class this.
I'm a real leadership geek, honestly. I've spent my whole career reading books and chatting to people.
I just find the whole thing and the announcement, the way it's been announced, bizarre.
If you could move away from a model where teachers are so intensely focused.
Hello and welcome to our Sunday social. Another Sunday. Well, we don't have a guest today, so you have us, just us two, I'm afraid.
Which is fabulous.
Fabulous. Well, Claudia, how's your week been? Have you had a good week?
So busy, but in a good way. So I've just been doing so much. Been playing Alice for the last month. Well, rehearsing to play Alice for the last month, and just did 2 shows yesterday, which went off really well, much better than I thought they would. I'll be honest with you. I was panicking, so that was really fun. And also, what else did I do? Just school. It's the beginning of the semester, but I felt it this week. This week was one of those weeks where I was like, wait, have we been meeting each other that long that you've already lost the spark and joy of learning?
Oh, no more, no.
Not yet. I have this it's afternoon class. It was so good week 1. When now, last week was week 4, or this week was week 4. And they were just, the energy wasn't there. And it just was like, I was trying to, I don't know. It was like beating a dead horse or something. It was so difficult to get them to do any sort of kind of like group. Well, they would talk to each other, but with me, I always like them to feedback. I want to engage with them at some point. It was just so hard. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
What about you?
Well, my week was rather busy, unexpectedly, as I was saying before the show. I had my uncle and aunt visit, which it's always a pleasure to have them over. But it's the first time in Korea, and I rushed down on Saturday, I think it was, to pick them up from the airport.
Oh yeah.
With them not having traveled to Southeast Asia before, I was like, right, I've got to get to the airport. I've got to get them through the airport back down to where I live in Daejeon. And it was Saturday, the day of the BTS concert in Gwanghwamun.
Oh wow. You made the trip there.
I made the trip there. The road was absolutely busy. It was just, so much traffic. And the bus was actually delayed arriving at the airport.
Because of all the traffic.
Yeah. And I eventually arrived. But thankfully, my uncle and aunt hadn't arrived through, immigration and that sort of thing yet. And they just arrived. And on my phone, I got a phone call, and normally I don't pick up unexpected numbers like unknown numbers because there's so much spam calls and what have you in Korea.
Yeah.
So, but at this time, I was like, I'll just say, I'll pick it up and I'll say, typical thing. 여보세요, hello. I say both in Korean and then English.
Yeah, and English.
And then there was this sort of silence. There was nothing there. Then this lady said, hello in Korean. And then there was more silence. And I thought, it's spam call. So I just dropped the number again. And then the same number phoned me up again. And then I was like, okay, right, pick it up. And I was like, hello. And then I could hear my uncle on the other end, and he said, "We're at the airport. We're at, at the exit A," and I was over at
good
exit B.
that you picked it up, because
Yeah,
like you, I would have probably been like, I'm not picking it up again, and then they would have just been like waiting.
so yeah, and thankfully I managed to see them. I rushed over
Yeah.
from the exit A to exit B, which was on the other side, and they were sitting there waiting for me, thankfully. And yeah, and I took them all the way down to Daejeon, and Seoul was just jam packed with people. There were so many people wandering around for this concert, but there was loads of people coming in, but not many people going out. So we had ourselves, which was good.
But it's really nice to have family over. I feel like, I don't know, for me, when I really miss England, it makes a huge difference if I see someone from home, even just the things that we talk about, or the things that we, like, even just their excitement. Sometimes I forget that I do live in quite a different place from like where I'm from. So they come in and they're excited about the smallest thing. Like, my cousin was obsessed with like the convenience store, and I'm just like, it's just CU, but she's like, oh, we can mix those drinks with the ice and everything. Like, let's go to CU. It was like a thing to be like, let's go to CU and get those drinks. And so I'm like, I guess there is something to be excited about.
Yeah, but I suppose when you live here in Korea, it kind of that sort of honeymoon phase just disappears after a while.
It really
doesn't
it? It really does.
And
it's so sad. It's really sad, because people who maybe think about us living here, they're like, oh wow, you must have so much fun. It must be so exciting, being in Korea. And then you're just like, no, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah. Oh dear. But my uncle was like, right, I want Korean sticky fried chicken or something like that, the onion chicken.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, all right, we'll go and get it. Yeah, all right. It's kind of funny.
Did he like it, or did he find it a bit sweet?
He actually really enjoyed it. He loved it. Yeah, he loved it. But then, obviously they experienced other things, and they were only here for a number of days, and before they flew back to the UK, and they jammed so much into their stay here. They were like, right, we've got to do this, got to do that, got to do that. And so every day they were going out, every day they were trying new foods, and every day
I could see why you would be exhausted. That's exhausting. But it's nice, like but it's at the end of the week, you're like,
time out. I need time out now. So and then obviously I had my classes as usual, fourth week, like you mentioned, and trying to get the students inspired. It's but
is it harder than before, or is it the same for you? Because I feel like maybe I went in with these positive thoughts and expectations. I think it's because we've had guests on that have given some insights, and I've really tried to apply that. I've gone a lot slower than I normally do, and I think maybe I geared myself up to be like, okay, they're going to open up a little bit earlier because I'm making these steps to kind of take it easy. I'm massaging their shoulders, and I'm like, oh, open up, and it's just like they're tensing up more instead of relaxing. So
it's interesting actually what you say. I've got two Korean groups, two sections. One is an intermediate group of Korean students, intermediate in English, and the lower is like pre-intermediate, elementary. And actually I found the elementary group that I actually teach and try and encourage, they've been opening up. They're more confident, more comfortable at trying to speak English than this intermediate group. And the intermediate group are just so quiet. And I'm like, oh my God, where's their passion? Where's their confidence? Where is it? Because I would say the elementary group are great. They're just such a joy to teach. And whenever I have to go into the intermediate group to do some announcement, it's like I'm just talking to the wall.
To the wall. Yeah. Yeah.
They're just there in person. But yeah, I don't know. It's really strange.
Yeah.
But
so at the moment I work at university, and so when we do go to the staff room, it's other also foreign teachers like me, and we always share, like, how's it going, how's your day going. And I think everyone has a class or two which, you know, is much harder. Thankfully it's not all classes this semester. I do really enjoy some other classes. They're really responsive and they're engaging, not just with each other but with me also. But I don't know why it's the class that stands out more.
I suppose it's the dynamics, isn't it? You take away a few people, you add some people, and then the whole dynamics change, don't they?
Yeah. It's a funny situation, but I'm trying. I haven't given up just yet.
Me too.
Yeah. But I totally know what you mean. When you've got, you know, what I always find funny is one activity can work perfectly one class, and so you're like sold. You're like, this is a great activity. Go into another classroom and it tanks, and you're like, what happened? Was it me? Is it you?
Yeah.
What happened? So I feel like I'm in that place right now where, you know, I may have to just rethink some of the activities I'm doing. I don't know.
I don't know. You kind of inspired me a few months back when you were talking about getting the students blogging, and and I'm like, right, I'm going to try this out with my writing class, and it was I didn't know what to expect. I'm just experimenting at the end of the day to see what works and what doesn't, and what I would do differently next time.
Yeah.
And I think for educators ourselves, we need to try this out, because and there was an assumption on my part where I had the students working on their own individual blogs. I thought they would know what a blog is, how they would set it up, and everything else like that. And they don't know.
They didn't.
Oh my God, you know, where's these skills that
tech savvy?
Yeah. They don't have it. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to go right back to basics again.
Right back.
Try it out.
I had this conversation with a few friends, and I think with my husband, we were all talking about how it's really strange. It's a strange dynamic in Korea where your really tech savvy, phone obsessed students can be really good at one skill and then totally not in another. And it's based on what do they use frequently. So my students do this thing which frustrates me. When they want to look up a website, they will either go to Naver, type in the name of the website, say YouTube, they would type in YouTube, and then Naver search, which is like a search engine, would pop up, you know, list of sites with YouTube in it. Then they click on it in order to get to YouTube. I'm like, you know, the search bar at the top, you can just put YouTube and it will just pop up, you know? So they go this really long way. And it was the same thing with websites. I was like, oh yeah, you can go into Google or you can go into Wix and just generate your own website. And a lot of them was like, what's that? What's even a blog? What do you do with that? And I was kind of dumbfounded because I was like, aren't you guys always on your phones and computers?
But then I think what has been really rewarding for me is actually the students who take the time to learn, you know, and I've shared different resources with them, like setting up your WordPress blog, your WordPress website, and the steps you have to go through to set it up, you know, a free WordPress site. And then how do I post? How do I do this? How do I do that? And I've shared so many resources, but then I found those actually go through the process to try and teach themselves. end up learning so much more, and I can start to see their websites are starting to come together now, because they've had like their 3 posts in, and I started off with like just introductory, like about yourself, and then the next was like what your passion hobby is, so share that, and the next like a day in the life of, and I'm just going through the process. So hopefully by the end of the 15 weeks or so, hopefully they've got 10 posts.
Yeah, they've got like, and like, so sorry to cut you, but I love it because it's something that they can have with them even beyond your class, and they can always come back to. I always tell them, think of the future whenever you've got an interview and they ask you, what interesting project have you done, or what can you bring to this team? You've learned this skill about reporting about your day in English, or you've worked on a project, or there's just so much that you can do. And I said, keep it going even beyond our class, keep posting, and you will just be so happy, even just to look back at your university life and kind of hear the way that you used to speak or the thoughts that you had is also interesting. So I'm always like, write with your own words as much as possible, because it's great to see your progress, like what you will like, maybe, I don't know, first year compared to fourth year, it's so different.
That's true. We got Roger here. He says, some of them don't know how to use like Microsoft Word at all. It's very true.
It's so true. I don't think it's just Korea. I think it's like, it's just the way people use their phones, their laptops, what for. Like my brother, if you give him Football Manager, he's like, just so good at it. Give him something else, he's probably going to be like, what is this? I'm sure he has no clue. But I don't know. I remember, or was it the training that we had? I remember being able to use different programs. Like ICT was a part of my education. Like,
yes. I do recall being taught how, well, I don't remember actually being taught, well, this is Microsoft Word and this is how we use it. This is Excel and this is da-da-da-da. It was a case of me sitting down and I had to teach myself how to use it. But I found it so intuitive that at no point did I feel a little, uncomfortable. It was like, okay, well, this is the tool. And like, for example, essay writing at university, it was like, you got to do this font and this is, the word spacing and da. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then I managed to figure it out. But I think the younger generation now, and I dislike, I really don't like saying the us and them scenario, because it kind of gives a sort of difference there.
Yeah.
But the Gen Z, they have no, they expect things to come by very quickly.
So
the answers.
yeah. And it takes time, right?
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
to. I feel like doing it, like how you're saying, 3 weeks in, you've got 3 posts. They might be, all over the place, but the more they do it, by the end, they're going to get so tight and they're going to have a purpose. And there's another website, if I can find it, maybe after we say one of the sponsors posts, I might try and search it up. But it kind of, you can search up a topic and then it gives you suggested titles, which then from there you can then build up your post. And I like that because it's kind of like a target or a challenge to kind of write towards that title. So that's always like a cool way to also start up a post and stuff like that. So it's usually fun.
That's very true. Well, let me slide into today's sponsor. So, ready to make impact beyond the classroom. AQA is looking for teachers like you to become examiners this summer. You'll build your CPD, strengthen your understanding of the mark scheme, and gain fresh insight to enhance your teaching. It's flexible, paid work that fits around your commitments with full training from our experts and ongoing support from an experienced team leader. Whether you're an early careers teacher or have years of classroom experience, examining with AQA is a valuable way to develop your knowledge and join a community of subject specialists. Join AQA today as an examiner for the summer and visit aqa.org.uk to apply. Well, I suppose for me, when it came down to the students blogging, there was this assumption that they would just be, they'll be able to do it. But these days, I'm starting to realize actually I need to give them some sort of guide or create a guidebook for my classes in future semesters when I get them to blog. And I'm hoping to share what students have done this semester with future semesters. So it's like, this is what other students have done in the past. It kind of gives them some sort of idea of where they're heading. And
that made a huge difference for me from like the first time I did it to the second time, was being able to show examples. But do you ever actually give them the link, or you just show it on the board, or do you do you let them have access to it afterwards?
Oh, for the blog or
for the blogs? Yeah, because my worry is always that they're gonna just copy exactly what they see. I want them to be inspired, but I don't want them to be like spoon-fed.
I think for me, I like when I first started this semester, I was like, well, these are some examples of blogs, some that have turned into quite successful websites. What starts off as a blog turns into quite a interesting website. And so I got an example of a Korean blog, not like Naver or that sort of thing, but a blog where people were sharing Korean food, and it turned into like travel and food cuisine in Korea, and it was quite a big website. And I said, well, this is where you could head to. This is why some people start off as a blog, as a free blog, because they have this passion, this interest in something. And then you have that opportunity to maybe take it to the next level.
Definitely.
But I don't necessarily give them the web link, or maybe in future semesters I won't share the direct link of other students' blogs, but maybe I would just capture, like do a screenshot and then share it on the PowerPoint and just say, well, this is what's happened in the past, and here's some examples of that sort of thing. That's how I would go about it. But the other interesting thing for me was incorporating AI as the writing process.
How did you do that?
Well, I said at the beginning of the semester, I shared students a video of how to spot something's being written by AI.
Okay.
There's quite a good video about it, and it goes through the different things, the sort of telltale signs of AI writing, with the M dash being long.
But the M dash fans are like, that's not fair because I actually use it in reality.
But that sort of, those telltale signs of, obviously, I say to the students, you think that I don't know, but actually there's a lot of common telltale signs when it comes down to AI writing. And I say, this is what we're not going to do, but what I do is I say, okay, you're going to be planning your blog posts. I want you to brainstorm, have an outline, and then I want you to write like a draft paragraph for your blog post, pen and paper, or in
Oh, that's
class.
good.
And then I say, okay, after class, I want you to go on to AI, Google Gemini or ChatGPT, take a photo of your writing, and then use a particular prompt saying, don't correct my writing, but give me feedback on certain things that I can improve upon.
Yeah.
So you're not being spoon-fed the correction straight away.
That's such a good point.
And then the final part of that writing is to type it up and post it up on your blog. And then you as long as you can show me the process that you're going through to write your blog post, I'm happy that it's been written by a human. You've done it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it's so important. And I think it's actually, for them, it's good for them to know how to use it in a beneficial way, because let's be realistic, it's available, it's a good tool. And actually equipping the students how to use it to help them, to aid them, is much better than just saying don't use it, because I don't think that helps either, because some students genuinely struggle, and they don't always see, like I was talking to my one-on-one student, and she was saying, to be honest with you, there's some mistakes I can't see them, and I really do appreciate and value guidance to say, you're not saying this right. And even when we're kind of playing about, my brother's working for his final year project, he's working on an app that gives feedback. So you talk, you'll say like a paragraph, and then it will give you feedback on like grammar, pronunciation, and I think fluency. And so we were testing it out, and so she was like, it's great to get the feedback, but to be honest with you, I don't know what it should sound like. So she's like, it would be really helpful to have like maybe a voice recording of like what this paragraph should sound like, where the pauses are. Because she's like, sometimes I'm told that I didn't say it correctly, but I don't really know why I didn't say it correctly. Or if a grammar is underlined, I know what it is, but I still kind of have trouble understanding it. So it is really helpful to show students this is how you can use it to make what you're already working on. And I think that's where I'm really for create your own with your own voice, and then see how AI can come in and help. So yeah, I do the same thing. I'm like, write in class first, because I can control that. If I tell you to write at home, you're gonna tell me you wrote it at home, but we both know, we're not gonna lie to each other. We know you did. So let's just do it in class. So planning things so that you have time, you have that class time for them to explore, play around with AI. I think that creates a much better, I guess, habit or much better attitude towards using AI.
It's a healthier relationship, isn't it?
Then if you're just like, oh, don't use it, or use it, but it's like, how do I use it? What are the steps in, how do I enhance my work without taking away the original aspect of it?
That's true. I found that also one thing that I've asked students to do, like this week, for example, for their writing, is find other blogs, websites, or articles based on, whatever the topic was this week about, like your routine. If you're going out to the gym, find a blog about the gym, and I want you to add a hyperlink to embed it within your blog. So it just demonstrates to me that you're actually reading broadly as well.
That's actually so I used to do how to write a blog post ages ago, and one of the advice that like a prominent blogger would say was that in order to make what you're talking about credible, you need to have you need to have some links that people can go onto these other websites to kind of say, yes, what you're talking about is in line with what others are saying. So it's a great way also for them to learn how to reference things as well.
Yes, exactly.
In a lighter way. We're not going to go with like a particular style, but it's really good. It's a good habit for students to learn to back up what they're saying with credible resources, because
Yeah.
again, we live in a world where we can generate anything at any time, and sometimes you don't even know if a video is real or not real, and things like that. And I think it's great training for our students, which is a great privilege. Sometimes I tell my students, look, especially in Korea, I feel like we're in a very unique place, because we have the chance, the opportunity to impact the students in a really great way. And so I think we're not just teaching them language or communication skills, but sometimes we teach them other life skills as well that can be applicable to any course that they take. Like, writing a blog post, whatever you do to write the blog post could apply to an essay also.
That's true.
Could apply to, writing a script for a presentation, because, you're getting your facts checked out, you're thinking about how to present the information to a particular audience. So all of those are transferable skills, and especially coming from a non-Korean, it gives them another way or another idea to pursue, which I always think it could, if somebody takes it seriously, it could make them unique when it comes to maybe applying for a job or applying for like a master's program or something like that. So I wish English teachers took their job seriously. I know not everybody's like that, but you do sometimes see people who kind of, I'm just coming here for an adventure, but I'm like, it's real lives that you're impacting.
That's true. That's true. Well, before we move on to maybe teaching and the different aspects of teaching in Korea, I'm just going to go into our next sponsorship for today's show. And this show is brought to you in partnership with Hachette Learning, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Level up your professional development today and visit www.hachetlearning.com to explore the full range of titles. Right, well, as we move into our next element of today's show, obviously our show's focusing on getting a teaching job in South Korea. And something you mentioned was, the industry, English language teaching, could be seen as a sort of a job that's really there for students having a gap year post university. Backpackers and that sort of thing. It does have that sort of context. However, it can be quite rewarding career, because you're helping individuals in Korea or around the world pursue whatever goals that they're trying to achieve, whether it's getting past a university entrance exam or going and wanting to pass a different exam to study abroad or just improve their general communication skills. And let's have a think about private language institutes in Korea. Obviously, they're the ones that attract these backpackers, I guess. But what advice would you have for people that want to, enter the English language teaching industry?
English language teaching. Like I said, I think I'll be honest. I came not thinking about the students. I came thinking about myself, because I was one of those, I'm going to go to Korea for a year. I'm going to travel. I don't have enough savings, so let me work. That was my thought. I did have a bit of experience of working with kids. I used to work for like a youth organization, and we did plays with kids and other activities. So I was engaging, and I taught in Sunday school. But that was as much as I knew. And then when I came, I kind of had a shock, because one, the kids aren't really big fans of English, especially if you're working with elementary school. They're not huge fans of English. Their world is Korean. They eat Korean, sleep Korean, go to school. Everything is Korean. And they have this hard time understanding Why do they have to learn this foreign language? Whereas I came in with this bright idea that, oh, they're gonna love it. I'm sure they listen to like English pop music, they watch, movies and stuff like that. And some of them do, but the majority don't. They consume Korean content, even when it comes to like cartoons, or just everything is a lot more Korean than it is Western. And so that was a huge shock. However, as I spent more time, as I accepted the fact that they don't really like the subject that I'm teaching, I had to find other ways to connect. And then I started to see the impact that I could have. And I think that's what really helped me to stay. Was the first time was when a kid in the first year, like first grader, which technically I wasn't supposed to teach, but anyways, that's Korea, started to learn how to read. And that was the first time in my life I'd ever helped someone read. And it was just seeing the kid's face light up when he was able to like string a sentence together. And it was the simplest sentence, like, my name is blah, blah. But he could read it on his own and he could just sit back. And I remember him looking at me and he's like, I get it. And I'm like, you got it. And we almost shed a tear because it was that good. And so I was like, whoa, like I can really impact this kid's education. Like, and then it started to make me think, what else can I do? How much more can I do? Now that I can read, what other things can we figure out? Can we find out about? And I think that's when I started to take it seriously, is when I was like, oh, I can make an impact. So how do I do that? And then I realized I actually didn't know anything about English teaching. Because whenever the kids would ask me a grammar question, I was scratching my head. I was like, I know that that's correct, but as to why it's correct, I don't know. Google it,
Yeah, I think for me, I don't know. It's a habit of mine. If I have something that I need to do, I want to try and do it as best as I can. And so I knew I was moving to Korea back in 2005. I was looking for jobs and there was no jobs around. And, my wife said, should we go to Korea? And I was like, yeah, all right. What can I do? I'll teach English. But then it dawned on me that, well, what do I teach? How do I teach it? I had no clue.
No idea, right?
So I had like, for 2 or 3 weeks, I had like this weekend course organized for people who had just graduated from our university to go abroad as a backpacker and to teach English. So I was like, okay, well, it's £100. I'll join this course and I'll learn what I can to teach English abroad. Again, at the end of the month, at the end of the course, I was like, I still don't know how to teach it.
Yeah.
They've just given me the bare essentials
the bare minimal.
I was like, and they said, well, go and buy English grammar in use, go and do this, go and do that, and you'll be fine. And I remember one of the trainers, he said, if you've got a question and you don't know the answer to it about the grammar, tell the kids, okay, well, have a think, why do you think this is correct or why do you think it's wrong? And then open up your grammar in use book and then try and find the answer. I was like, that's a good idea. I've never thought of that.
No, but it's survival. It's survival.
Yeah. And then I got to Korea, I met the kids and they were just shocked. This English bloke walked in and said, right, let's go. Today we're going to study the present continuous. And I'm like, I sat up all night the night before going through English grammar and use, and I was thinking, how do I teach the present continuous? And I had these exercises and activities, and the kids were like, why am I studying this? I've got no idea why I'm studying it.
Thank you. Yeah.
I was like, but then I soon realized, actually, all they want to do is games. They want to do vocabulary. Yeah. They don't want the grammar. They hate the grammar.
They hate grammar.
And I that first year was my, I earned my stripes. I kind of learned how to teach or how to function in a classroom. And I learned so much in those 12 months.
Yeah. Well, I was in the middle of nowhere. I was with Epic. I thought to myself, because I knew they were like, well, if you don't apply early, you're not going to get the big cities. You're not going to get Seoul, definitely, or Busan or some other place. But in my head, I'm like, that surely they wouldn't send me to a village, because that's just crazy. I'm like, I'm a foreigner. I've never been to Korea. That would be, ridiculous. Got to Korea, and then during training, there were whispers as to, oh, you guys are going to like the boondocks, like the really rural parts of Korea. Like, boy, they would just look at us and they were like, whoa, feel sorry for you guys. And I was like, what are they talking about? In my head, I still wasn't convinced that they would send us, far, because I knew we were going to somewhere close to Chuncheon, which is where I am now. No idea where it was that we were going to end up until the day of sending us all. So we did our training, then everyone gets sent to their schools on the same day. I get picked up. We come to, so Chuncheon is like the capital city of my province, and we step off from immigration. A lady just comes up to me. I don't know her from Adam, and she says, "Are you Claudia?" I was like, "Yes." She's like, "Come with me." I was like, "Okay."
Oh my God.
We went to immigration, and she's like, "Sit." She's like, "Documents." And everything is going so fast. I'm giving this random lady my papers. She didn't even introduce herself as in, I'm going to be working with you. No, she was just like, "Claudia, come." And then she's given everything. And then, I don't know, they did a bunch of stuff. And then we finished. She's like, "Get in the car." And get in the car. Nobody's talking to me. We drive about 40 minutes away from Chuncheon, which is the capital city of this province. Get to a place where all I can see is mountains. Mountains upon mountains and soldier cars. We pull up to this apartment block. She says, "Okay, go upstairs to the 3rd floor. That's your room." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow." She's like, "Tomorrow? You're coming with us today. We're going to school.
What?
You're going to teach." I was like, "What?" We left station at like 6, and she's like, "Okay, quick, hurry up." Rushed me through the whole process, dropped suitcases, took me to the marketplace to be like, "Do you need anything?" So I was like, "Yeah, I think I'd like an iron." Or she's like, "We don't have a budget for that, so we're gonna get you a comb and a blanket." And I was like, "Thanks." Okay.
Wow.
Dropped me at school in front of my class, and we're like, "Start, teach." And I was like, what's thankfully, I don't know who it was, had said, "Make an about me presentation. Just make a presentation telling who you are, where you're from, just in case." So I was so thankful I had created that. So my advice to any teacher out there, and it applies to whether you're in Japan, Thailand, Taiwan, just create an about me, presentation slide. It's just the easiest way to start off the class. So thankfully I had something, but it was like a whirlwind, just being thrown into this world. And I was just like, whoa. Because I would imagine in England, they would give me a day or two to kind of, get my
acclimatize and yes.
No, this was like, boom, start. And I was like,
It does remind me of my first time in Korea. I arrived at the airport, this is going back years ago, 21 years ago, almost 21 years ago. And then I arrived, my brother-in-law picked us up. We had his car filled to the brim of all our worldly possessions.
Right.
And then we had to go to this Hagwon where they offered me a job and sign the contract there and then. So we arrived in Incheon Airport or Gimpo, or whatever it was back then. And then we drove for like 2.5 hours down out of, in the middle of nowhere. It was just rice paddy fields everywhere. And then I was like, where am I? What am I doing? And it was like, right, come on, you got to go in. And my wife kept kicking me, saying, stay awake, stay awake, stay awake. You got to sign the contract now. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? And, there was a contract and it was like, right, are you happy? Yeah, okay, I'll sign.
Yeah.
Right. And I was literally jet lagged. I was so tired. And then thankfully I did have time. I had like 2 weeks before I started.
Nice.
So it wasn't like, right, in the class now sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I arrived there the first day and they said, well, that's your classroom. Teach. That sort of philosophy. And it's like, thanks. No introduction to the students.
No. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not as slow.
No, it's just like, there you go, teach. It's like, where do I begin?
And it's so awkward. It's almost like being on a random blind date with somebody where you're like, okay, I guess. Hi, I'm Claudia. What's your name? It's the most awkward things because they're also looking at you. I think they're also so shocked. As shocked as you are, the students are as well. They're just like, okay, so you're the new person.
Yeah. And if you have to follow someone who, you're joining that position and the previous teacher didn't, they had a bit of a reputation. And you've got to try and,
salvage.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. What I would say to anyone, I've never done Hag One before, but certainly for uni and elementary, I would say, or for public school and university, is it honestly get some courses. Like you said, I also did a course. I think I did about a month long. I definitely think you need a lot more than that. So if you can invest in some courses, do so. It's not a waste of money. It will really help you because sometimes, you have the best intentions, but you might end up, confusing some kids. I'm sure I've taught loads of incorrect information. I was very confident. And then, months or years later, I'm like, oh, that was totally wrong because I know better.
Yeah.
So I've also developed a habit where, I constantly learn. On YouTube, there's a load of lectures that, you can listen to about teaching. Yeah. And it could be just about teaching in general. Classroom management, I cannot stress enough about investing in just learn how to manage a classroom. You're not going to be taught that in your training, not that much. They're going to give you some information, but classroom management makes a huge difference.
It does, So and there's a lot of publications available that you can maybe invest in. So I would always recommend people invest in good books, in good quality books, much like our sponsor today. But get those books and learn, if it's about classroom management, learn, and try and follow that sort of thing. And, if it's about pronunciation, you want to learn how to teach pronunciation, invest in good quality pronunciation.
Never think you know enough. Or never think, because I'm a native speaker. I know I had that attitude and I got so many slaps in the face because I was like, wait, how do you do that? How do you actually make that sound like you were saying? Sorry, you were saying about pronunciation.
Pronunciation, yeah. And actually, we've got Etiquette here, Eric from Etiquette. He says classroom management is so important.
So important.
It is.
Hi, Etiquette. Oh, it's the amount of times I've had, and sometimes it's just one student. It doesn't have to be a bunch of students. It's just one distracting student. And then they take away all your energy. And then you miss out on actually helping students. Something that I found quite good because of I think 2 years ago, I kind of did the Moreland program because I wanted to switch into international schools. So I wanted to get teacher certification. And that's a way that you can do it without necessarily having to go back to your home country and getting it that way. You do it online. And one exercise that we did was to film ourselves, film our classroom. Obviously, we went through the process of getting permission.
Yeah,
but I filmed my class, and I had to rewatch and then kind of like reflect on, did I do well? What went wrong? Stuff like that. And I realized, so there was one particular student who I thought was just, messing around all the time and kind of like a troublemaker, because he's always acting silly, never quite finishing his work. When I watched the video, because he was at the back, I really saw what was actually happening. So I thought his name, we used to have like nicknames. His name is Spider-Man. So I thought Spider-Man went to Harry. And usually Spider-Man and Harry are always play fighting. They're best friends. They're always getting up to mischief. So I was like, okay, here we go again. Spider-Man, concentrate, stop playing with Harry. But when I watched the video, I actually realized he was asking Harry for help, because he'd been asking me several times. Like, he was calling my name, but I was so busy focusing on another student that I didn't realize that, kind of needed my help. And so in that instant, I was like, okay, he wasn't actually messing around. He was needing help, and he was seeking. He was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to the way that, things are.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that. However,
That's
if I have
true.
like a better system, I think I then learned about different systems for, students asking for help. You can, like, one clever way was like a stoplight.
Yeah.
If I've got, whichever green symbol, that I'm free and you can talk to me. If it's red, I'm in conversation. You've got to wait a little bit. So little things like that can help you, and can help these students who actually really need your help.
True.
Just knowing how to communicate these little things with your students is important. But I never put anything in place like that. I was always like, if you need me, just put your hand up. But what happens if 5 people need you at the same time?
Yeah. That's true.
Got to think about that.
Well, I'm going to go into our sponsorship for today. So AQA, no teachers are the real experts in the classroom. That's why they work closely with teachers like you, combining your insight and their assessment expertise to create resources, tools, training, and guidance that genuinely make a difference. They're the UK's most chosen assessment organisation, so chances are you already know their work. And as we head into the exam season, AQA are focused on helping teachers feel supported and ready. If you want to find out more about how they're working with teachers like you, just head over to their website to find out more. It's interesting, having the opportunity to record your lessons. Again, I loved this when I was in my MA. I had the opportunity to have my lessons recorded and reflect on it. It was great. And I would strongly urge, particularly these days where everyone has a camera in their pocket, they can just put it up, record their lesson, and review it, after the lesson as well. It's really, really good. And I suppose for me, if you have an opportunity, in the classroom, students are always going to try and get your attention or ask you for questions or clarification. But it's so important to make yourself available outside of the classroom.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because one of my students in my writing classes, he came up to me. It was lunchtime. I was getting my coffee and my sandwich ready to have my lunch. And I was walking down back to my office. And he was like, oh, Professor, I just wanted to have a word with you. And I looked at him and I said, it's lunchtime now. Enjoy your lunch. And he says, but I want to have a talk about da-da-da-da. And I said, let's sit down then. And then I literally had my coffee and sandwich on the table there, and I just had a word with him, and he just wanted clarification, and I provided it within a couple of minutes. And I said, right, any more questions? No. Okay, enjoy your lunch, relax. I'll see you in class next time. And I grabbed my coffee and sandwich and headed off to my office. But
it's nice, right? When they do, the few that do come and ask questions.
Yeah. And I think for them, particularly for courses which is in Korea, you'll come across, if you've taught in non-Southeast Asian contexts, like if you've worked in or taught in Europe, Korea's very restricted. It's not like you're either right or wrong. And we got to work within the boundaries as flexibly as possible. But then, the sort of grading and everything else like that. And so I try and train my students into that. And it's like, you've got some flexibility for your writing, but we got to try and stick to things, particularly where grades are either, either an A or a B or a C. And you're talking about percentages here, there, and there's a grade curve to respect. And, I've got to try and train the students up. So it's like, just follow the instructions, submit what I ask. If you don't, you're going to get 0. Then after a few weeks, they realize, okay, I'll just do exactly what he's asking me to do. What he's
saying, yeah. I remember last semester, a student didn't complete an assignment and didn't do a quiz. And I was like, you get marks for that. And he's like, I didn't do it, but can I still get an A? I'm like, no, I can't pull it out of nowhere. You just do what I've posted. Please. And I'm like, I'm not even asking you for much. I actually make it, most of mine is post regularly on your website because that's where I want to see all of your work there. I'll do some quizzes as well, and then I'll do like 1 or 2 presentations. But the way that I set them up is that you have a lot of time. Like we plan it, we go slowly, we kind of build up to it. But you still get 1 or 2 people who are like, well, I don't really feel like doing that assignment, but I'll do the next one. And still at the end, they're like, can I still get an A though? And you're just like, it doesn't work like that. You have to actually do the work. Have you come across this dynamic? Last semester, I had a foreign student. She from a different country. Most of my students are Korean, except for this one student. And what she struggled with is actually being heard. She was just like, I was outnumbered. Although I had ideas, I wanted to share my idea because it was like a vlog. And she does vlogs as a hobby. She posts on social media. And so she was like, oh, we could do this, we could do that. But she just felt like she wasn't heard. And so for the second presentation, which was also a team presentation, she just was like, can I just work on my own? I'd rather just go for it alone than do it together, because it was so hard to be understood. So I know you teach mostly internationals. But how did the Koreans feel amongst your students?
I think for anyone who's working within an international context or teaching within an international context, certain nationalities would obviously just gravitate towards each other. And so you've got like the Koreans that are there, and then you've got like maybe the Spanish, which are another side of the classroom, or the Germans on another side, and that sort of thing, which is good. But then and I suppose for me, I try and mix the nationalities up so that all nationalities have an opportunity to communicate with each other, and they can use English as the lingua franca. But then I think it's a valuable skill for them, although maybe the example you provided with the student wanting to work by themselves, it does give them the experience of, okay, well, this is how internationals work together. I need to find my voice. I need to learn how to work with other countries or other ethnicities or nationalities. And if I'm not being heard, then what can I do to improve that?
Well, at the time, I just felt really sorry because it's not the first time that I've heard that. I also know other international students who study not just language, or they're not just exchange students, they're actually doing their undergraduate degrees in a Korean university, and they've shared the same thing. It's really hard to be heard and to be taken seriously. I think sometimes they feel like I've given an opinion, or I've given a, an option, but they're just bypassed. And then that same option is picked up, later on down the line. And so it's like, how do you find your, and have that confidence, to say, hey, listen to me.
Yeah.
To say.
And don't forget, Korea's now, I read in the news today, Korea's got the most amount of international students studying in their country now, compared to all previous records. Like over 300,000 are studying now in Korea, international students. So Korean students need to learn themselves how best to operate with these international students as well.
With new students. I guess that's what maybe I should have done is because in the conversation classes, I think you can't bypass talking about culture and communication, because it's, it can be really difficult to, even for me as a teacher, I struggle to really get my ideas and get my points across in a clear manner that is understandable and accepted by my Korean students. So I can imagine the difficulty for someone who is on the same level as them in terms of like their position, how hard that is. And I hope that going forward there are some, I don't know, some steps to address those issues.
Yeah, I always like to pick the quieter students as well to talk or to contribute to the class discussion. So, if I do see certain students who aren't being chosen to share their ideas or opinions, it's like, well, I'll choose them. Yeah, I want to hear their voice in a way as well.
Yes. And if I do that, I also praise them openly, because I want them to know that what you've said is valuable. And so say more. And sometimes it is really valuable. Although they're quiet, they've got some really great ideas. And like they shine through other ways. For example, through their website, you might see that this quiet student actually has really unique take on things, or just a creative way of writing or presenting information. And so I'm just like, come on, share this in class. It's good. I remember saying that to a student. She was like, really? It's good? I was like, yeah, it's good. She's like, okay. Like, she was like, oh, all right.
Oh gosh. Wow. Anyway, this show is brought to you in partnership with Hachette Learning, publishers of professional development books and resources that support great teaching and learning in schools around the world. Level up your professional development today and visit www.hachetlearning.com to explore their full range of titles. Right, well, if you may, I'd like to try and discuss about the differences maybe working at university compared to either public school or Hagwon. What was the biggest difference for you?
Biggest difference, hands down, the vacation, holidays. Because for me, I was really happy working in public school. I loved my students. I was fine. I don't think I had any, career goals at that time or anything, but just experience the day-to-day life. I really liked it, except the fact that when everyone else went on holiday, I didn't. And I just had to sit at my desk and do desk warming. So when you're in school, you've got no classes, they call it desk warming. So I just thought, I could be out there traveling. I could be doing something else other than sitting there.
Out of curiosity, though, if everybody else is on holiday and you're not, who's watching you to do what you have to do? Just this night.
The only other people that stayed were the office, kind of like the what would you call them?
Like the admin staff?
Yeah, admin staff would stay. And so what would happen is, if the head teacher, isn't it? Because principal and vice principal weren't around. So in Korea, they have, in elementary schools, there's the principal who's really the top guy. Then you've got the vice principal. Then you've got the head teacher. In my particular case, the head teacher was really strict. So if she's around, everybody's at their desk pretending to click clack and do other things.
Yeah.
The day she's gone, I kid you not, Martin, we're all in the staff room ordering jjajangmyeon, black bean sauce noodles, just eating, chatting away. It's literally, we're just there, just chatting the whole day. And then they're like, oh, it's time to go. Great, I've done a great job today. The day she comes in, everybody's in their rooms on their desk doing, pretending to like work. So for most of it, I think I watch some films. I try to prep, do some prep. But yeah, you just find whatever you can do to survive the time. But so for me, that was the biggest thing, because then I could travel, and then I could see myself staying longer, because I was like, okay, during the breaks, like the winter break or summer break, because it's about 2 months for each what's it called, for the summer and for the winter. So I was like, I could go home, I could kind of get my dose of England and eat the food that I want to eat, do all that stuff, and then come back and continue teaching. So for me, it was more long term. I saw myself being able to survive with uni rather than, or elementary, although I really loved the working at my school, which was a public school. I've never done Hagwon, because I went from working at a public school and immediately to university. And
it's interesting.
Pretty much stayed there.
Sorry to interrupt, but
no.
For those at Hagwons, the amount of holiday entitlement that you get is 1 week summer, 1 week winter, and then that's it. And you're working Monday to Friday all the time. God. And I found that just so exhausting. But then after 1 year, I was like, I've got to make a change. I want to try and do something better, which is what gave me the inspiration to pursue like a CELTA course at the British Council. And then I was able to find a really good job in Seoul teaching for a well-known adult language institute. And that was it. I was like, wow, this is great. I'm not stuck with classes all the time. I can, and then I got promoted, and that was really rewarding for me, not being stuck in the classroom. But then, interestingly, something you mentioned about trying to get students aware of English. That you come in first day of school, and they see you and they go, oh, English, okay, it's that subject we study with grammar and vocabulary. But I wanted to try and introduce English to the students, but not in the classroom, but outside. And so one winter break, for 2 weeks, I proposed to the Hagwon, the Private Language Institute, shall we take the students to England? And they experience English firsthand, and it's a language that it's a living language. It's not something is in the classroom. And they agreed, and we took 6 or 7 students with us to England, and they loved it. They had the time of their lives, and it was just so rewarding because they could see English is there. It was really fascinating. But then by the time I got back, I was like, right, well, when's my holiday? And they said, well, you've had it. You went to England. I was working. Where's my holiday?
That's Korea for you. I did actually. Well, I tell a lie. I did public, went to uni, but uni, I had so much more free time that I took on a side gig with permission of my school. This is something that a lot of people don't understand that you can do. If you have a good relationship with your boss, you can work at a secondary place with their permission. You go to immigration and you submit all the paperwork, but you can do that. So I used to work at uni I think I maybe 3 or 4 days at uni, and then 2 days at an after school club. It's like a hagwon, but not full on hagwon. It was just like a mini short one. And so in doing that, that was like 11 days vacation. And so I would be off from uni, but I would still continue with this. At first, I thought it was okay because, I'm only doing 2 days a week for like 2 hours. I'm like, it's not much. But I realized it's really important to have a good break from you and your students need a good break from each other. Otherwise, you just get sick of each other. I got sick of them. They got sick of me. I ran out of ideas to, games to play. We played everything. And so after a few years, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I really need the break. Even when I wanted to like travel to England to see family for a bit longer, it just became an issue asking for more than 2 weeks, because then they're like, wow, you've already, passed. And I'm just like, no, I need to see my family. I need a break.
Yeah, that's true. I think the opportunity to have that time away from work, to have that space to breathe and relax is so important. As for any educators, you need that time. And anyone who's going into teaching in Korea, hagwon, you're gonna be working all hours, all day.
I guess the benefit from hagwon though is the fact that you can choose your location.
Yes,
it's a lot more flexible. Public is harder to do that unless you really apply very early.
True. That's true.
It's still pretty hard to get like where you want to go, and you will still work for more than one schools. These days it's very normal to have a main school and then also to go to a travel school as well, which is usually some distance away from the main school. So I guess hagwon give you that flexibility. If you want to be in Seoul, you can guarantee being in Seoul. But I mean, what did you enjoy aside from the holiday issue? What did you enjoy the hagwon style of like teaching or lessons?
I kind of enjoyed it. I got to a point where I had like 6 classes back to back, 50 minutes each with 10 minutes break in between. But I got to a point where I could plan one lesson. Like the first class was really basic, that lesson. And each lesson I would just add a little bit more to
it.
So that by the end of the 6 hours, it was like, well, I've taught the same thing 6 times.
Yeah, 6 times.
But each time I've just added a little bit here, a little bit there. And then, it's graded to the student's age or language ability and that sort of thing. And I learned so much more about that than had I been working in a public school and teaching different classes or having that, there was some value to that. And then by the time I got into an adult English hagwon, like in Seoul, working there, all the material was prepared for me, so I didn't need to spend time planning lessons. I would just pick it out from their course of materials, folder, pick out everything, and then deliver it and do the conversation and the feedback. And these sort of lessons were either 30 minutes or 50 minutes. And, and then it was free talking and chatting. And I really enjoyed that because that gave me some freedom and less preparation time, but more freedom to just talk to students, give them the language and just chat to them and learn a bit more about them in a very relaxed environment rather than a very high-stressed situation within a hagwon.
That's true. With uni, so when I first started working, that was 2015, I had about 5 different courses. So I had to create syllabuses for each one of them. And so I was responsible for everything, the textbook, the syllabus, the exams. It's all down to you. And it sounds fantastic because you're like, oh, you can do anything. It's terrible when you have 5 different subjects to prepare for. It's quite a lot. And it can be a bit overwhelming. thankfully I had a superb colleague who was just like, right, follow me, I'll send you everything I have, just do what I do in your classes. Later on you can, next semester you can change it up, switch it up to whatever, but just for the first semester, just do what I do. And I was really, really grateful to him for that, because that helped to like lessen the burden. And then I think, similar to you, I'm always itching to like, how can I improve? What can I do to, help the students a bit more? And also I want to learn. I'm curious as to how can I improve as a teacher in my delivery. So I would just spend, my vacations kind of thinking, okay, what can I do? What can I tweak?
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing every year. I've never been satisfied with a course. I'm always tweaking. But through that, I've been able to, come across some really great techniques that I've used, I've worked, and I've been able to share and present also those. So it's been really great. I think uni, it gives you that freedom. And it's really, I think uni is great for long term. If you're thinking of coming to Korea long term, I think uni is a great place to work. But these days, one thing that you do have to consider is the number of Korean students is going down. So I've faced already several cuts to hours and salary, and it does affect your livelihood. And so it's a little bit sad, because you obviously, the longer you stay somewhere, you want to increase the pay, not decrease the pay. So I've really had to find creative ways to manage finances, and also to just keep myself, not from losing my mind, because especially I was teaching a course that I really loved, and then last semester I was told I'm no longer going to be teaching it, and that was really sad. That wasn't something I was prepared to lose.
It's kind of hard, isn't it? Sometimes
it's so hard. It's really, really hard, because
my introduction to university was actually, my context was I was teaching in the UK at a university. I was teaching a variety of different nationalities, preparing them for their either undergraduate or postgraduate studies, so they have the academic skills and they can achieve what they want to achieve. And it's great because the support's there for them. Back in the day when I did my degree, there was no support like that at all. It was like, good luck. But, in the UK now, we've got a variety of different supports systems in place for students. And I came from that environment, that context in Korea. And the first thing I did was, right, okay, here's your 3 courses. You got to write your syllabi. You have to do X, Y, and Z, and you've got to figure out your grading. And I had no clue. I just, one was something called Honours English, which is like academic writing. And I was like, right, okay, I'll deliver academic writing skills for the students on this course. The other was business English, and it's like, well, okay, I'll come up with some syllabi based on business English. And the other was writing and presentation skills. And I was told a week before the semester started, these are your courses, you need to write the syllabi, you need to submit it, you need to do it, and you need to figure out all the grading and everything else like that. And I'm like, how do I do it? I don't know what to do. And I was thrown into the deep frying pan, but I survived. And thankfully, like yourself, I had some great colleagues who supported me, and it was wonderful. Had they not been there, I would have still been failing. But thankfully, I've now built up those skills so that if I'm given another course, and it's like, okay, I'll figure it out. But I know more now than I did maybe 2.5 years ago.
Expect change. Expect like sudden 1 week's notice change. Oh, we've come up with this new brilliant course. And I remember they switched one of our courses. I used to do teaching methodology, and then they said, we now want you to do intercultural communication. And I was like, what is that about? You know, I haven't studied that. I don't know what that is. I mean, I know, but I don't know the like details confidently enough to be able to teach it to somebody else. And they were like, oh, don't worry about it. Just, you can do whatever you want. We just need the course to be, you know, like the title to be this. And so I went a completely different way. I don't think I ever taught anything anything theory wise. I think the spirit of intercultural communication is in the class, but is it really there? I don't know. But I've survived.
You survived.
But yeah, it's one of those things where I think in general teaching in Korea, you learn so many skills. You become a course writer. You know, I'm now also, you know, trying to produce material as well. There's so many skills that you build up, and I'm really grateful for that. It's a tough place to build a career. It's great to come and have a 1 or 2 year experience. You know, you're not going to have any issues there. You're going to have a great time. But to actually stay, remain, and establish something, you have to be strong-willed. You know, you don't give up. There will be setbacks, but you will create something uniquely yours.
And you'll be adaptable. Yeah, you'll be very adaptable.
Yes. They can throw you into the ocean, you'll swim, because you'll be like, I've survived all the Korean surprises. I can do it. I can do it. So I think, for me, what would you choose? For me, it's going to be university, because of the flexibility and the holidays. But I must say, I do miss teaching kids. I like a little dose of kids every now and then. Not full time, but I do love them.
Yeah, for me, what would I prefer? I don't know, to be honest. I'm not sure. I do like university. It's great. But by like the third week of my holiday, I start to get bored and get a bit frustrated. And I'm like, what can I do? What am I doing? I need to keep myself occupied. So I don't know if there's a sort of balance between university and maybe part-time Hagwon, which is flexible enough, that would be good.
That I agree with you. You do have to keep yourself busy. Otherwise, you spend all your money like I did when I first moved to university. I was like, great, I've got 2 months, I can travel. But then I just like spent all my money and I was broke again.
Well, we're going to call it a day. But it was great to have a chat with you again, Claudia. And thank you for everybody who was joining us. And we'll be back on in 2 weeks' time. Sunday next week, of course, is the Easter weekend. So I hope everyone enjoys their Easter next week.
Everybody.
And I'll see, along with Claudia, we'll see you in a fortnight's time.
See you again.
All right. Well, take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Outstanding, a world-class vision, a world-class this.
I'm a real leadership geek, honestly. I've spent my whole career reading books and chatting to people.
I just find the whole thing and the announcement, the way it's been announced, bizarre.
If you could move away from a model where teachers are so intensely focused.